kind of leader could tackle a problem like Tajikistan's? How does a leader go so low like South Africa's Jacob Zuma? Well, Fortune magazine is offering some serious insights into what makes an excellent or a disastrous leader. Now, the cover story of the edition that's coming out Friday is dedicated to Fortune's list of the world's 50 greatest leaders. Now, some of the names are there, as expected: the German Chancellor Angela Merkel, Myanmar's Aung San Suu Kyi, and Pope Francis. But many on the list are not famous, yet their influence is overwhelming. Now, this year, Fortune has also promised a collection of the 19 most disappointing leaders, men and women who got it wrong, really wrong. Yeah. One man who gets it right is Christopher Tkachuk. He is the senior editor at Fortune magazine. He's also known as the keeper of the list there at Fortune. Good evening to you, Christopher. Thanks for joining us. I have to start. Let's start with the bad guys, if you will. The 19 leaders who've disappointed us. Why the number 19?
They say that the audiences, the readers on the internet, love odd numbers, and there's no actual real scientific reason. Okay. We had a much larger list, but we pared it down, and we came up with 19. We're also asking readers if they have any suggestions of other candidates they want to nominate for number 20 to send it in to us through Twitter.
Okay, well, 19 is just as good as 20, I suppose. Let's talk about the people who did make it on this list. You're giving the Burned Rubber Prize to Martin Winterkorn, the former chairman of VW.
CEO.
Yeah, talk a little bit about why he deserves to be on this list.
Well, Winterkorn was someone who was notorious for having created this culture of micromanagement. And so when the scandal first broke, when the news about manipulating the emissions for diesel vehicles broke last fall, he first claimed ignorance. He said that he didn't know what was going on. And, for a micromanager to not know that, a software had been created specifically to try to cover up the emissions, I mean, it's highly unlikely. There's a lot of skeptical critics.
Yeah, skeptical critics, and they say the culture of not being able to fail at Volkswagen, too, they say is incredibly strong there. Let's talk a little bit about FIFA. The We Are Shocked to Discover Payoffs award goes to Sepp Blatter.
Sepp Blatter, yeah, and Michel Platini. We looked at this as not just, a wrongdoing at a very, the top of an organization. These are supposed to be leaders who are inspiring thousands upon thousands of athletes, but also children who look to their favorite football stars as heroes. And so when they see that the head of this organization is, either misappropriating funds or, committing, they were both cleared of committing any type of major crime. But at the same time, it's sort of like, there was never any doubt that something had gone wrong, especially with that many people being indicted for money laundering and racketeering.
I want to get now, very quickly, I want to get to the list of the good leaders. But before we do that, why is Obama not on the list of excellent leaders?
That's a great question. So, this list of the world's greatest leaders is the third year that we've done this. We've not included Obama each year. This is an editor's curated list. And while there's always disagreement, all the editors get together and we talk about who should be on, who should be off. It ultimately ends up that the group of editors at Fortune decided not to include him. We tried not to play the political game too much with this. If you notice this year, we did not include any of the presidential candidates who were vying for that job in the fall. Yeah.
Let's talk about who is at the top of the list, Jeff Bezos from Amazon. But
Jeff Bezos.
Right. It really doesn't have to do a lot with what he's done at Amazon, does it?
Well, it does have a lot to do with what he's done at Amazon. So Jeff Bezos is someone who is constantly evolving. He's always 10 steps ahead of the game. He has created the world's largest, or at least the U.S.'s largest internet shopping experience. But he's also running the world's leading cloud computing service. And so he's doing things and he's thinking outside of how everyone else is approaching the business. He's now stepped into the civic leadership spotlight, now that as the owner of the Washington Post.
Yeah.
And so he's taken an old brand, an old print media brand, and is overseeing its change, its radical change into the digital landscape. So he's taken on this mantle of being a civic leader and is being a great business leader as well.
And
if you think of not just Bezos, but all of the leaders on here are leaders of other leaders. You look at Angela Merkel. She, as you mentioned earlier, she has been on the list, I think all 3 years, and for the reason that she has helped, prevent a major fiscal crisis happening in the Eurozone. She also turned to used a compassionate voice when she allowed 1 million immigrants to come into the country. It's had some backlash, and this may be the end of her, her role as a great leader, as she ends up dealing with that.
Let me pick up on that. I want to just play a little clip from a report that we aired not so long ago about the crisis in America. Just take a listen, take a look at that.
Nearly 800,000 people have already arrived. The German government admits that it doesn't know the exact number itself, nor does it know how many are still on the way. Can Germany cope with this? We can only do this together, but we will do it.
That is what really got her name, circulating around the globe, connected with the refugee crisis, is that we can do it. Yes, we can. That mentality. But you and your editors say that that could actually have been the moment when her power, when she overreached. Do you think she'll be on this list next year?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say a whole year from now. I think that any leader that exhibits some sort of compassion, who leads from the heart as well as the mind, is someone who's going to gain respect and inspire other people. Everyone on our list of the world's 50 greatest leaders are all people who inspire others, whether it be to work towards the same goal or inspire others to achieve success in some way, whether they work in business or if they're in politics or in the arts or sports. We try to look at all segments of society. And all of the people that are on this list are ones who inspire others. And so I think as an inspiration, Angela Merkel, if she continues to inspire people, either through her compassionate leadership, she very well could be returning next year.
All right, well, hopefully we'll be here next year to talk about that. Christopher Tkachuk, senior editor with Fortune magazine. Christopher, as always, thanks for taking the time to talk with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Brent.
Well, we are almost done with the day, and like every day, this is a work in progress. We'd like to know what you think. Share your thoughts and your ideas on Twitter, either at DW News or at Brent Goff TV, and don't forget to use the hashtag #TheDay. All right, we're going to leave you now with some images of cherry trees in full bloom in Japan, in Tokyo. And remember, whatever happens between now and then, tomorrow is another day. Bye-bye, everybody.